Welcome everybody to video number 31. In the last few videos, we've worked on learning how to classify images and then do some post-classification smoothing. In the next series of videos, we're going to work on ground truthing our images. Of course, with any classified image, many of the pixels have been misclassified. So in order to assess the accuracy of the classified map, we need to actually go into the field and locate those pixels and see if they've been correctly classified or not. And so the way to do that is to first generate a set of random ground truthing points for each of our classes, and then get those points into a handheld GPS so we can locate them in the field. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to generate ground truthing points in ENVI, and then we're going to go through a number of steps to get those points into a KML file. So we'll first generate them in ENVI, then we'll convert the region of interest into a polygon shapefile. Then we'll go ahead and open that shapefile in ArcMap, and we'll convert it from a polygon to a point format. We'll add XY data to the attribute table. Then we'll export the attribute table so you have a copy of it, a printed hard copy. And then we'll convert the shapefile to a KML that you should be able to load directly into your Garmin GPS. So let's get started. The ENVI project's already open. We're not going to use the Yellowstone example anymore. I'm going to switch to the example that we're using in lab. This is the Crown Point Bridge area in New York, just east of Middlebury. You can see it's a historic site. Here's the main British fort at Crown Point. So I've played around a little, and I've gotten this classified image using k-means classification. And I'm reasonably happy with it, and I'm ready to create my ground truth points from it. So obviously before you do this step, you should have produced a final classified map that you're very happy with. So the first thing to do is open up a shapefile that's going to actually tell us what zone we want to open, we want to create ground truth points in. So we're going to be using this file, map extent 2, and I'll open that up. You can see it's a fairly close cropped box. So this is going to be the boundary in which all of our ground truth points are going to be created within this. Okay, so now to create the ground truth points, I'm going to go to classification, post classification, and then generate random sample generate random sample ground truth classification image, or something like that. I'm going to choose my classified image. I'm going to use a subset, and for my subset I'm going to choose the map extent 2, the shapefile that I just opened. I'll hit OK. Now here it's going to let me choose which classes I want to generate ground truth points for. I'm going to choose all the available classes. Notice class 1 isn't showing up because there are no class 1 pixels within the box. Class 1 is the red on the edge of the image here. So I'm happy with that. I'll hit OK. Now there's a few different options you can pick from as far as sampling type. We're going to pick equalized random. I urge you to go check the ENVI help if you're curious about what these different choices are. Equalized random is basically going to allow us to pick a constant number of ground control points within each class. So I'm going to pick 6 samples per class. I have 6 classes, so that's going to give me a total of 36 ground truth points. You guys are going to have probably 8 classes, so that's going to give you a total of 48 ground truth points. And I'm going to export those to multiple ROIs. And I've given these a file name, gtpoints.roi. Now I'll hit OK. And it's going to randomly generate 6 points in each of my classes. Now it doesn't show those automatically. You have to actually go and open them. So I'll find the file name that I just made. And notice now it's making me choose a base layer for each region of interest. Doesn't really matter what you tie them to. So now if I look very closely here, and you zoom in, you're going to actually see a few colored pixels. You can see this green one over here. That pixel's colored green. Here's a blue one over here. So those are the actual pixels that have been chosen as your ground truth points. This green pixel is obviously ground truthing a water category. Looks like this blue pixel may be ground truthing a tree category. So the next step is to actually compute these regions of interests, convert them into a shapefile. To do that, I'm going to go to Vector, convert ROIs to shapefile. I'm going to pick the ROI that I just made. I'm going to tie it to my classified image here. Well, that doesn't matter a whole lot. And then I'm going to put it into my output folder. And it will take a second to export. Okay, so these ground truth ROIs have now been converted to a shapefile. That shapefile has not been added to ENVI, and I'm not going to bother to add it to ENVI. I'm now going to switch over to Arc, and I'm going to open it up in ArcMap. So I'll do that by going to Add Data, finding the shapefile I just made, GT points, and here they are. You can see them showing up as little specks in your Arc project. If you zoom in a bit, you can see that this is actually a square polygon where each side represents the edges of a pixel. So our next step is going to be to convert this square polygon into a point. And we're going to do that over on the toolbar menu under Data Management, Features, and we're going to use the Feature to Point tool. Our input feature is going to be our polygon shapefile, and we'll put an output name. I'm going to call it GT points point for PT, and I'll hit OK. So we're generating a new shapefile that's going to be points inside of these polygons. Okay, so we'll zoom to that layer, have a look at it, and we'll remove that layer. We're done with it. Okay, so we've got all of our ground truth points now. The next step is going to be to add XY coordinates into these so we can print out a table of the XY coordinates. That's also going to be under Data Management, Features, Add XY Coordinates. And I'll choose the shapefile, hit OK. Now I'm going to right-click, Open Attribute Table, and what that just did, it added these two extra columns, point X and point Y. And those are the UTM easting and northing, respectively, for each of our ground truth points. Okay, before we do anything else, I want to actually go through and rename each of these points. So when we do transfer them to the GPS, it will be really clear. So I'm going to use this class name field. I'm going to start editing, and I'm going to call this Rock 1, Rock 2, Rock 3, Rock 4, Rock 5, Rock 6, and so on. That was for the first class. Then I'm going to call this Water 1, Water 2, Water 3, and so on. So what you want to do is go down through, name each of your points, both by their class type and then their number. And when you're done, let's check back in. Okay, so now I've got all my classes named. You should too. I'm going to stop editing and save my edits. Now I'm going to export this as a text file so that I can open it in Excel and print out the coordinates of my sample sites. So I'll go to this menu, Export, make sure to choose All Records up top, find a place to put it. In this place I'm going to call it GT points 1 and .txt. Make sure to choose text file here and then hit save. I'm not going to add it to the current map. Instead, I'm going to go open it in Microsoft Excel. Make sure you choose down here so that you can see all files. Okay. Navigate to your file that you just made. In this case, I'm looking for gtpoints1.txt. Hit open. So now it's going to prompt me for the formatting of the file. Make sure to choose delimited. Hit next. This is a comma delimited text file. Hit next again. Then hit finish. And it's going to open up. Here's all your ground truth points labeled along with your XY coordinates of those points. So now save this file as an Excel file just so you can access it a little bit more easily. And you're all set. Then also print it out and bring it with you to the lab on Thursday. So you'll have this printed table as a backup. Okay, so now back to ArcMap. Our final step is going to be to export this shapefile as a KML file that can be opened in Google Earth or easily uploaded into our GPS. So I always forget where the KML conversion tool is. So I'm going to go to Geoprocessing, search for tools. I'll search for 2KML and choose this layer to KML. My input layer is going to be the points file. My output, I'm going to call it GTPointsAll. I guess I'll call this one 3, so I know which one it is. Hit OK, and it should save this out as it'll actually be a KMZ file, which is the compressed version of a KML. So that's about it. We're now ready to open these up in a GPS and go to the field. So to review, you just learned how to generate ground truth points. We first made the ground truth points in ENVI. Then we converted them to a shapefile, opened that shapefile in ArcMap, and converted it into points, added the XY coordinates to the attribute table, exported the attribute table as a text file, and then we converted the shapefile to a KML that we're going to open in, or we're going to load into our GPSs. So join us for the next video, and I'll show you how to upload these waypoints into your GPS. Thanks.